Hey again, tiny friends. It's the tiny Moto garage. My name is Andy and it's another weekend, so I thought what I'd do is give you an update on the different projects. So the first one is the Carabela, which is a great project. I'm really enjoying it. And so the first thing that I managed to get done was the tank. All right, so what I've done is I've polished a steel tank. And every time you polish the steel tank, it rusts. It's amazing. So what I did is I gave it a final polish and then I coated it with this Rust-Oleum transparent spray. Now, I know it's not going to be fuel resistant. I know it's not perfect, but it's what I've got. And it's probably fairly easy to take off if I change my mind and want to put a color down or something like that. So for now, I'm sort of happy with it. And the finish isn't bad. I mean, it's, you know what? It's not bad. I mean, remember this is a, 45-year-old tank, and it's had me wailing on it. So it actually came out pretty good. It's not really going to be a concourse bike, is it? So the other thing is I managed to find these little fellas on Amazon, and obviously I've just got it tacked up there now with a little bit of tape. So that's going to put a little bit of, I don't know, character onto the tank, which will be cool. And then it'll also cover up this area here, which is the only bad area on the whole tank. You going to stay there? Yes, you are. So yeah, happy with that. It took quite a long time. So the next thing, the last time I left you guys about the front end, we had all sorts of problems. So I've solved most of them, I think. I do have the front end back together and it doesn't look too bad, so hopefully you can see that. It is going together, but what we don't have is a good front wheel. So this front wheel looks okay, but it's really not because it had that big crack in it. So I found another wheel and I bought it and I dismantled it. So that is the rim from the new front wheel. And I'm going to show you the inner part. It came without the central part, but that central part right there is actually really good on that one. So between the two of them, I'm looking fairly good. The rim that I bought, whilst it looks okay, it's painted, and that, you know, that's not going to work. So I took a little bit of the paint off it, but it's not good enough. And I would like a finish not dissimilar to the rear wheel. So we're gonna buy, I'll just take you out here for a sec. We're gonna buy a new just rim, and this is the hub. So hopefully you can see this. There we go. So this is the new hub, and this was all painted as well. So I've spent a lot of time getting the paint off it and polishing it up. I've removed the bearings. So it looks fairly good. It's not, again, it's not perfect, nothing here is, but this is another 45-year-old piece of equipment, and that doesn't look so bad. It's got some deep scratches and stuff in it, and now, you know, you could get them out if you really wanted to wail on it, but I kind of like the patina. So we're going to leave that like that, and then I removed the spoke nipples, which are here, and polished them up so they're reasonable. They're going to do the job, I think. And then I had spokes, and I'll show you the spokes. So these are some of the ones I've done so far. They're looking quite nice. These are the other ones. So these are this is before, and this is after. I tried CLR on the spoke nipples, and that was a bit of a disaster. It just turned them all black and really grim, so I ended up spending even longer polishing all that nonsense out. So anyway, so we've got decent spokes, or half of them are done, half of them are going to get done. We've got that central section there, and we've got the central section here. So what we have is and we're going to get a new rim. This rim looks all right, but it's deeply pitted, and I just like it a bit nicer. So we're going to be able to build up a wheel, which is exciting because I've never built a wheel before. In fact, I've never dismantled one before, so that was a learning process. And that will get us to the point where we have a full rolling chassis. I've also undercoated everything. I've just noticed I've whacked that, which is not great, but I've undercoated everything, which is great, and I'm using, there we go, just edit that in. That's the undercoat I'm using, fine Canadian product. So that's the Carabela. So next is the KTM, which is behind me. All right, so haven't got out on it yet because unfortunately now the back tire is going flat in about 3 hours. I put 15 psi in it, and then I waited for 3 hours and it had 4 psi in it. So that's got a problem. I'm going to have to take that tire off and replace the inner tube. And also I couldn't start it, and I think maybe I just flooded it. So what happened, and this is a fairly common thing apparently, is when I turned on the tap, gasoline came just piddling out of all of the escape tubes, those orange tubes there. So anyway, all of the fuel came rushing out the bottom, as can happen. So I went online, and Dirt Bike TV, a guy called Jay, has got a nice little, I'll link his video, but it's a nice little video. But basically what he tells you to do is take this off and blow compressed air through it. So that's what I did, and it fixed it. So instead of having to take the float ball off and faff around, I just did that, and it worked quite well. I've also noticed something. So here's a little bit of information, which I haven't heard elsewhere, something I found out. If you store the bike on its kickstand, the needle sticks and you get that problem. If you store it on its proper center stand, which is that kind of thing, it doesn't have the problem. Now, I don't know whether it's got something to do with the bike leaning over or whatever, but I can tell you that I have found that. So store your bike, I mean, it's best to store it with no fuel in it, of course, but store your bike not on the side stand, store it here, and you won't, I think you're less likely to have that fuel problem. So anyway, that's that. And then what's next? Dual sport. So what we did with the dual sport is, and this is a fairly common issue again, you're going to notice that this bolt is different to these bolts because they put crosshead screws in there. And this one here was completely seized. I had to drill it out, and then of course I couldn't get the stub out, whatever you want to call it. So I bought myself an Irwin stud remover, and it worked like a charm. I'd never done that before either, so it's a bit of a success there. I managed to get it out, and now I've put a new bolt in. And what I might do is replace these two, because although that's not very pretty, it's way more functional. These crossheads are grim. And we did the valves as well, and they were a little bit loose. I've redone the valves to about 5 and about 5 and 6. 6 on the exhaust. Normally a little higher, a little more clearance on the exhaust. Anyway, so we did that. And then, not to leave the old Beamer out, got a nice ride on her in the last week to go and get our wheel, which is about a 3-hour ride. So she's the only one that's not getting maintenance, not getting attention, but she is getting ridden, so that's nice. So yeah, a good weekend. I hope everybody else had a great weekend. So yeah, everybody have a really great week ahead. You take care now.